Hi and welcome back. So a couple of questions on this property class, this property type. The question might be, can we define properties without using the property class, right? That property and those decorators and so on. Can we define properties without using that? And the answer is yes. The property class is actually a convenience class, but we don't have to use it. It's really convenient though, and it works just fine most of the time. And then later in this course, I'm going to show you how we can get around using the property class using something else. But for now, we're going to stick to properties. They're easy to use and they work most of the time. But now where might they fall short? Well, reusability is one. If we want to have the same property with the same functionality in many different classes, then really what we have to do is we have to redefine all those methods, all those accessor methods. We have to rewrite in each of those. Now we could pull them out of the class, we could put them somewhere else in the module and then reference them inside the class. We could do that. That's a little weird maybe, but that certainly works. But there's a better approach to it than that. So reusability is a key one. If we're going to have to reuse, let's say, a property that's for a name that does some validation on the name, or maybe it's an email address and we want to use that in a dozen different classes, and we want the same validation to be performed on the emails, we would like to be able to reuse the same property, essentially the same functions that are used for the setter method on all the properties in all the different classes. So that's one thing. If we have, let's say, two different properties in the same class that need to have basically the same validation, maybe we have validation on names, which is that the names can't be empty, and we have first name and last name as properties in a single class, then again, we'd have to write the function that does that twice, or at least being able to reference it twice. Okay, so those kinds of things, the property can maybe fall a little bit short sometimes. Then maybe we want more control. Maybe we want to have more control over a property's behaviors. Now this gets pretty advanced, so I'm not going to discuss it too much now. But we'll come back to this when we study data descriptors, because the property class essentially is a convenient way for us to use data descriptors, and we'll get to those in this series. So another question might be, we saw how to use the property class and the corresponding decorators to define instance properties, which are properties on the instances of our class. Can we create class properties? In other words, properties that are going to be bound to the class, not to the instance. So like a class attribute, but using accessor methods instead of the bare attribute. And of course, the answer is yes. That's the short answer. The long answer is it requires starting to look at metaprogramming, which is really advanced, so I'm not going to get into that right now. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.